So instead of just going after everyone else, you have to first find in yourself the sense of righteousness. First of all, Mahabharata is happening within everyone. In everyone, there is a good part and bad part. And remember that falling is always easier than rising. It's an amazing thing to learn. So forget about the debate whether it's a mythology or ancient history. Anybody reading or understanding Mahabharata, and Bhagavad Gita is just one part of it. Actually, the ancient name of Mahabharata was not Mahabharata, it was called Jai.
Hello friends, so in spirituality and in today's date, we all are fascinated towards Himalayan yogi. So guess who is with me? He's a great Himalayan yogi, he's a great sadhak, bioenergy healer, motivational speaker and Kundalini yoga master. So without much time, I would love to introduce Yash Shekharji in our show. Yashji, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for this warm welcome. Hello everyone. So nice to be here. It's great to be a privilege to be here in Hyderabad. Thank you everyone.
Yeah, so friends, he's into spirituality from his childhood. He started his meditation, I think, at the age of 4, right?
Yeah, very young age. In lotus posture, that's the underlying part. I love Padmasana and I'm a great brand ambassador of that posture. I feel that everybody should do that if possible, but not at the very later age. It's a very good thing to do. And gradually I met great people who kept teaching me, motivating me to learn, keep growing. And as I always say that process is more important than the product. So the process made me what I am right now and I'm still growing.
That's wonderful, Yash. Thank you for coming, and a lot of things are there to know from you. So today's topic is Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, that's true. We are especially discussing today about Mahabharata because, as a very good saying, that any culture or civilization which doesn't see through their history don't have a bright future. So I felt it's good to start with our ancient legacy, and what is better than Mahabharata? And obviously, Bhagavad Gita is a part of Mahabharata, so everything comes there as a package.
So, Yashji, what is the importance of Mahabharata in current context?
Look, first of all, I would like to make it very simple because understanding has to match the cultural context also. So now the current generation is having a lot of challenges, especially from the professional perspective. So I have seen Mahabharata from different perspectives because it has different perspectives. But the current world scenario is such that you have to see it from the management perspective as well as the skill set strategic perspective. So I have seen Mahabharata from the first as a set of a management perspective because the main hero, the I would say the central theme is around Lord Krishna,
Right.
who had a separate aspect as far as Mathura is concerned, Dwarka is concerned, but in Mahabharata is a very big key role that he is in like a witness state. He is like in a drishta bhav where he takes a promise or a vow that he will not use weapons and yet make the weaker army win against the stronger army.
Right.
I am able to say Pandavas were weaker than the Kauravas because the number of army, like they had a different kind of divisional system called Akshohini. So Pandavas had 7 Akshohini on their side, Kauravas had 11 Akshohini. So number game, Pandavas were weaker.
Right.
Also the kind of fighters on that side, like Bhishma, Drona, uncontested, they were more powerful than Arjun.
Right.
So
Yeah.
again, and even Karn was at the same level, some say even more or slightly less, but anyways, same category. All three of them were disciples of Parshuram.
Right. Yes.
And Parshuram's main disciple was Drona, whose disciple was Arjun. So if you see qualitative analysis or quantitative analysis, both ways Pandavas were marginally weaker than Kauravas. They all were great fighters, but the whole balance was more towards Kauravas, and yet Krishna, by a superior advisory, was able to make them win the war in 18 days. So that's why when someone uses the word samadhi, the biggest test is of samadhan. So if you are able to have a solution to things, then that means you are on the right path. So Krishna could give a samadhan to the biggest war of that time. Understand, imagine a biggest war and win it for the weaker team in 18 days. Imagine a consultant nowadays also, trust me, will have a great audience. A lot of people would seek that person who can do such things.
But in today's date, does it happen? Because I have seen a lot of, everywhere in politics or in other context also. I don't feel that, righteous people or right things get really win.
Look, I will tell you, winning and losing is not only about righteous. Winning and losing is about first the hunger to win, and second the strategy to win.
Right. That's why you said that it's a great management skill.
Yeah.
And today's date, I mean, I've seen a lot of people, they really apply all these skills from Mahabharata.
Yeah. Also, one more thing, you brought a very good topic of righteousness here. It's not always the right people win, but let's focus on the wrong people first. Suppose someone has a counterfeit note, any normal person, and has genuine original notes. The tendency to spend the counterfeit note will be much more faster,
True.
which means you will give more hard work in spending the note. Whereas the original one, you will be more casual because you know it's original note. So same with the so-called righteous and wrong people. Wrong people generally make more efforts because they know they are wrong.
Right, yeah.
Their
Yeah.
effort spending, their money spending, their consciousness workout to
Right.
cross the line again and again
Right.
is too high. If you study criminology, you will see that criminals generally want to cross the line because they know there is no other option. They don't have the grace. They're always in a very super alert status, and hence it's not easy to defeat them.
Right.
Though circumstantial management always helps the right. A right person will get much more opportunity. That is by the divine plan, so-called God, that the God ensures that the right person gets opportunity. But you need to have intelligence and wisdom to convert it.
That's beautifully you have explained, and that natural state, as you said, I mean, that wrong people, they are always conscious.
Yeah, always very
And
alert.
alert,
Yeah.
right, right. So in Mahabharata, generally in spirituality, we call it like there is nothing like wrong or right.
Yeah.
But in Mahabharata, who were wrong and who were right?
Look, what happens first of all, any person, good or bad or evil, be it a thief or a dacoit, always justifies their perspective.
True.
It's very raw, it's very difficult to do something if you're not able to justify it at least in your own eyes. Sometimes you'll give very lame excuse. Try it with yourself. First of all, Mahabharata is happening within everyone. In everyone, there's a good part and bad part. And remember that falling is always easier than rising. Any element would prefer to fall than rise. If I put water here, it will always go from the higher potential to lower potential. So falling is easy. That's why in astrology they compare moon, the planet is related to mind. So mentally thinking negative is much more easier than thinking positive.
Right.
That's why so much mental health issues are coming, because it's an easier option. Thinking positive is a difficult option. So what happens with the wrong, so-called wrong people, they really try to portray a perspective that, okay, we are still doing right. So in Mahabharata, Kauravas had the perspective that they were the elder son's elder son. Like Dhritarashtra's elder son is Duryodhana,
Right.
and Dhritarashtra, the current sitting king, so his elder son should be the king. Whereas Panduputra said that no, Dhritarashtra was Pratinidhi of the Pratinidhi, which means Pandu's Pratinidhi was gone to Dhritarashtra, and hence the elder son of, and then because Pandu will come back and he is not coming back, so his elder son, who is Pandav's, which is existed, should be the rightful king. So
Right.
there was a sense of legacy. Legacy wise, there was a debate, and then the normal code of conduct of the normal opinion makers in the society there, which in that case was Krishna, Balram, different other kingdoms who were divided, who saw which side had more alliance. So these two things together as a multiplication made them feel differently, but because of the case of trying to Lakshagra, trying to burn the Pandavas in that incident, case of Draupadi Vastraharana, and the case of many instances where Duryodhana tries to, in a shortcut way, try to manipulate the system, gradually turned the public opinion against them. And then Krishna, as a very good strategist, finally went to as a Shanti Dut and offered and asked for something very small in return. So what he's offering is very big, what he's asking is very less in return. So from the scale of profits also, he's given a very difficult option to the Kauravas. And Kauravas are the feeling of the strength on logical terms, because there are a lot of immortals on the Kauravas side. Like Bhishma, had Ichha Mrityu. So he's nearly like an immortal. Drone cannot be defeated in any war. Again like an immortal. Karn at that time also had Kavach Kundal. Immortal. Ashwathama is still supposed to be one of the Chiranjeevis. Immortal. So logically if you see, Duryodhana would feel, why should I worry for this war? Number is on my side, immortals on my side. Like how long they can fight. Even if the fight goes very long, I'll ultimately win because I have immortals on my side.
True.
So logically speaking, he was right. But this is what happens with our human brain. जो हमारे हिंदी में हम बोलते हैं कि अगर भगवान को बुद्धि से हराने जाओगे तो बुद्धू बन जाओगे. Which means if you apply intellect to defeat God, you will lose. Because someone who has created us is always beyond our intellectual level. So that's what in this story also. So the sense of righteousness, the scale was favoring Pandavas against the Kauravas. However, there are a lot of players apart from this whole scale who were affecting the whole game, which was again managed by Krishna. So in this reference, there are characters like Barbarik, who was not having anything to do with both the sides, though he was related
Who was the
so
Barbarik?
Barbarik was Ghatotkach's son.
Son. Okay.
And
okay.
Ghatotkach is Bhim's son. So he's
Right.
like grandson of Bhim. But after Krishna is the most powerful warrior.
Is it?
Yes, he was
Okay.
so powerful that he had a vow that he will support the losing team. That's why you will see in Khatu Shyam in Rajasthan, they have a temple on him. And you will see a lot of people who worship him or revere him. So first of all, he was given Krishna's name. Krishna gave him his name.
Sham.
He has not given Arjun this name. He has given Barbarik this name. And he had a motive like Hare ka Sahara, Baba Shyam Hamara, they say. Why? He's always on the losing side. That's his strength. So he was like, okay, so Pandavas are weaker the first day. I'll go towards the Pandava side. Kill half the Kauravas, whoever can be killed. Then Kauravas are weaker, next shift to the Kauravas camp. Kill half the Pandava side army. Again come to Pandava side. So in this fashion, he would end up nearly finishing everyone without any conclusive end to the war. And that's why Krishna cuts his head and puts it on a top of a mountain just for the viewership, because he had his desire to watch the Mahabharata war. And after the end of the war, when there's a debate that who killed the maximum, and Krishna asked them to go to the this particular person's head, he says only Krishna was killing everyone. So I'm just giving example that Mahabharata was not just a war, it was end of an age and beginning of another age. So Mahabharata never happened in Dwapar. It happened in the cusp of Dwapar and Kalyug.
Okay.
Actually, for that matter, any war happens in cusp. Ramayana was happening not in Treta, but with the cusp of Treta and Dwapar.
Is it?
So there are ages like this: Satyug, Treta, Dwapar, Kalyug. So these wars change the rules.
Right. Yeah.
You see, Ram
yeah.
as Maryada Purushottam hardly broke any rule. If you just
True.
leave the case of Vali's death, there's hardly any rule which Lord Rama break. Whereas Krishna is not respecting any rule. So you see, this is not just because of what God wants. It's showing that different age has different ways
Right. And requirement
and
of
requirement too. If because in Ram's case, in the case of Ramayana, when Ram reaches to Lanka and he wants to do a Vijay Yagya and needs a particular kind of class of rishis, purohits to do a yagya and is no one, then Ravan comes, becomes the chief purohit and does a yagya for defeat of Ravan. That's the standard of a villain in the time of Treta Dwapar conjunction. And by the time when Duryodhana was the villain, the standards have gone down. And now the standards are so down that people hit their enemies when they are the weakest. There is no class of fight. So that's how things are changing as per the age is changing.
So in Kalyug, like I think I don't know how much time it may take to end of this Kalyug. Recently, yesterday only, I was watching a podcast of Ranveer, a speaker. I think it's more than 4 lakh years is still pending.
Look, first of all, when it comes to lakh years and all, I'll bring a scientific perspective here. When you talk about lakhs of years and thousands of years, you have to not see only the years in the terms of solar cycles or lunar cycles. You have to also see in the terms of resources, the rate of finishing of resource. Earlier times, people were very considerate towards nature, towards plants, there was animals. Things were always need based. things were not comfort and luxury based.
Right, yeah.
So earlier term times, the greatest heroes were considered people who are working on need based. If you study even the Indian independence, people got independence because they were ready to sacrifice. If you see the movies of those times and everything, the element of sacrifice is so crazy high. In fact, if you see any inspirational movie, if you see the underlining effect, there will be element of sacrifice. All these people, I don't want to name because there are a lot of kind of each is very strong in their own domain. If I say Mahatma Gandhi, I have to also mention Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Lala Lajpat Rai. There are a lot of people. Each hero has his own style.
Right, yeah.
Some got more coverage than others, but the point is that all of them are sacrificial. So in Rig Veda, there is a very beautiful statement: through sacrifice thy shall prosper. If I see in meditation also, someone who is doing, or not only meditation, any sports, someone who is giving more time and more qualitatively focused will be definitely growing more than the one who is not doing it. So spirituality is also a science in that way, that it has its measurement ways. So if you mix calcium and chloride, you will not get water. So that's the way it has to go. It's what ingredients you are putting in a process which gets the result. So at that time, all of them, all these heroes, and I have so much to say on this that I would like to make it very discreet, that all the heroes were working very hard. They were working because of this competitive spirit between Pandavas and Kauravas. If you see before them and after them, the fall of the training and the greatness level of the war heroes is too high. The most evil character of Mahabharata, who was Duryodhana, can also go and sit in the lake and sit there inside. Like, I don't think any freediver of the world can do that. I do freediving, I know how tough it is. So it's nearly impossible to sit like that at that level, because the pain of LMC and blackout is too high. So, and this is the worst character. And Arjuna is higher than him, Karna is equivalent, Drona and Bhishma are too high. So, when you study that so kind of legacy, you realize they are great heroes. To criticize them is also so difficult because they can do things we can't. It's like it's so easy to criticize any negative person, but let's try to see the positive part of that person also. Being a critic is so easy and creating something is so difficult. Finding a fault in a masterpiece is so easy and creating a masterpiece is so different.
So, as you said about sacrifice, so we can see in today's world, in today's date, sacrifice means to killing others, right? Or in that way we can win. That is the worst thing I must say. But as you said, sacrifice for those heroes.
Yeah.
It was like
Look, first of all, the word sacrifice itself underlines the effect of giving something which is yours, which rightfully you don't need to give.
right.
So, first
Yeah.
of all, sacrifice has an element of choice. You are not legally liable to give it. You are giving it from your choice and at the cost of giving yourself some degree of pain. That's what technically sacrifice is. So, if suppose I take someone's water bottle and give to someone else, that's not a sacrifice because that's never mine. You can't sacrifice something which is not yours.
Right. Yeah.
Even in the process of acquiring something, when you leave the attempt to acquire it, that's the sacrifice of the attempt, not the object. If I'm trying to acquire something, that's still not mine, so it's not a sacrifice. Sacrifice is when you are giving something which is yours for a cause which you think is right. So, if suppose I talk about animal sacrifice or another kind of sacrifice, the animal never belongs to you. You have bought it from the market or somewhere by paying a price, but has the animal allowed you to give its life? Has the animal allowed you to cut it? No.
No. No.
You have legally got the rights to cut it, but you are not, the animal has not given you the right.
We cannot possess something or someone. I
Yeah,
think
so it's
that's
more like any kind of life. If someone, here the point of force comes up. What is the sin? Sin starts with the use of force. If you start doing something which you are not rightfully yours, then the element comes. So sacrifice definitely is nothing about someone else or something else. It's about something which is yours. So primarily your body, your mind, your time, your life energy, these are the prime elements you have got. Then you can talk about your possessions, materialistic possessions, about sacrifice and all. So it's a very integrity based process. You have to have a very high degree of integrity to understand these things. You can't be dishonest and then think that okay, because okay, to the world you can still be to a certain degree dishonest, but in the field of self growth, you know what you are doing. So like very famous musician, I forgot his name, he once said that someone asked him the importance of practice, and he said that if I don't practice for 2 months, my audience who will hear me can make a difference. If I not practice for weeks, my friends can make a difference. If I not practice for 3 to 4 days, my partner can make a difference. And if I don't practice for one day, I can make a difference.
Wow. Wow.
So imagine this kind of sincerity, and I've seen in every field, not only spirituality. First of all, spirituality is a very vast word. Anybody who's trying to improvise and improve themselves is spiritual. For me, spirituality is just not a ritualistic or religious bent of thing. It's something about effort and qualitative improvement in yourself. That's what spirituality is.
Wonderful, Yashji. Sitting in front of you, listening you, I'm not getting the next question. I don't know what to ask next. So, yeah, coming to understanding it more, this Mahabharata is an ancient history or mythology?
So we have to understand the terms. Mythology means something which may be real or may not be real,
Okay,
which has no conclusive proof or evidence of existence.
right,
Whereas when you mention the word ancient history, it means there have been some proof of existence.
right.
So people say spirituality, spiritual practices, magic, occult, they are mythology. But in some cases, there is a fine line where they have been taken like ancient history also. Now it's a very, very revealing fact. King Arthur. King Arthur is not a mythological figure. He comes in history. There is a guy called King Arthur who had a great war in his own times. He ruled Camelot. It's around that European, London, UK based area. He had a wizard by the name of Merlin who supported him, and he fought against Morgana, who is the prime witch of her times, who is King Arthur's sister. So it's like a fight between brother and sisters, and again the divide of righteousness. And this fight was basically only for the cause of, not for any property or possession or materialistic things. It was only for the sake of magic to remain or magic to go. And the best magician of that time, some say Morgana was the best, some say Merlin was the best, but Merlin took side of Arthur against the magicians.
I mean, those siblings?
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, he was supporting the brother who
Right,
wanted to
yeah.
finish magic
Right.
against the sister who wanted to maintain the magic. And he was himself a magician,
Oh.
a wizard actually. So what I'm saying is that similarly, if you see Mahabharata from a historic perspective, all the places mentioned in Mahabharata exist.
Yes, like Kurukshetra.
Recently
and
from NASA, they have seen even Ramayana, they have found the so-called Adam's Bridge. First of all, it has been called Adam's Bridge, but there is a bridge existing between India and Sri Lanka. And there are pictures, satellite pictures, you all can do Google, there's so much material on this now, that this pull was there visible on the surface till 15th century. Gradually it got damaged, and gradually in the waves and all the effect of the sea, typhoons and everything, it got submerged. This is visible. So forget about Mahabharata, even Ramayana has a very strong perspective. So Mahabharata, again, because of the places, locations, there's a lot of kind of facts which can say that okay, it can be an ancient history also. The only thing which makes it a mythology, truly speaking, is the ability of the individuals.
right, yeah.
Every individual there is so able, and their training system is not casual. If someone has to just write a story, they can just write anything. Every character, it's not like Nakul and Sahdev is equivalent to Arjun. If I am writing a story, I can make everybody a superhero.
True.
But even if it's a story, it's so beautifully arranged, and they have been able to quantify the ability of a person there. It's not like every two people are equal. They say there's quality of Veer, Mahavir, Ati Veer, Ati Mahavir, Paramveer. So they have given a strategically positioning, and this is based on the level of fight someone can do. So what I'm saying is that, like we study in science and in technology, that very strongly I believe, and Toyota production system also has this principle, that if you can't measure something, you can't improve it. Try to improve something which you can't measure. That's what a story
Would
is.
you like to give some example, like how
Yeah,
it should be?
suppose I am measuring performance of a person, of a sports person. If someone can run 1 kilometer and someone can run 2 kilometers in one go, in a stipulated time period, obviously the one doing 2 kilometers is more powerful. If in a normal case, if someone is doing 10 push-ups and someone can do 20 push-ups in one go, full push-ups, the one doing 20 push-ups is better. So how do you know the person is better? By again measurement, like numbers.
Right. Yeah.
So same in Mahabharata story, everything is being measured. There's a proper measurement of things. So spirituality doesn't mean just a hocus pocus or abstract thing.
No.
So basically, if you take it like a story, it has too much evidence which takes it towards a ancient history. And if you take it like an ancient history, there are too many unexplained facts of the superhuman abilities of the individuals which moves it towards a mythology. So I don't want to sound too fantastic, but it's definitely not a mythology because the lot of facts of places existing, the characters measurement of the abilities. Now even a lot of different universities are studying the concept of Vimans, which was mentioned in Mahabharata and all. So lot of things which when we are doing research is coming out to be true. At the same time, there are still a lot of unexplained facts, which still doesn't make it a total ancient history. So it's again in between a cusp between ancient history and mythology, but I would like to believe it to be more of an ancient history for the sole reason that the way it gives the message of the sense of righteousness, of technical calculations of measurement of improvement, someone able to achieve or not able to achieve is something else. But giving the standards of measurement itself shows that it has a lot of honesty in it, and hence it is something to be definitely revered if not followed.
Wow, wonderful. Coming to my next question, I want to understand. Krishna said that you should give your best and don't expect results, right?
Yeah.
So, what is the karma and kartavya here?
So basically, okay, there are two questions there. So when we talk about giving your best and not expecting result, that is
Right.
called nishkam karma.
Right.
And when you are doing your best and expecting result, that is called sakam karma. So they are two different stages of our consciousness. Initially, everyone is doing sakam karma, generally. And after a stage, when you achieve a certain degree of success, you don't need to do things for success. You are doing it because you should do it.
Right. For
Now
our
this,
happiness.
yeah. So this is what karma and kartavya difference is. The difference between karma and kartavya is, karma is something which is a choice. Kartavya is something which you should do. If you see the wildlife, it's a very beautiful example. Animals hunt and kill animals because they need to eat. No tiger or lion will eat or kill if it doesn't needs to eat it. If you see the tigers and lions who have been brought up in the captivity, I'm very sure wildlife people will agree with me, they lose the ability to kill. If you have a captive tiger and you release it in the wild, it has a big challenge because it doesn't know the skill to fight against even wild dogs. So what is happening here is that any wild animal once starts getting something will not kill, it doesn't need to kill. So kartavya is doing for something. If a tiger needs to kill one deer, it will kill one deer, it will not kill 5 deers. So everyone is following kartavya in the animal kingdom, truly speaking. Humans have the choice because of their superior intelligentsia to do karma as well as kartavya.
Right.
All the chaos in the world is because some people are not doing what the kartavya is. They're moving towards karma.
Right.
So
The
that's the point.
expectations are more.
Yeah. Desires.
Yeah.
Desires are the prime cause of expectations,
True.
which is the cause of the action. And especially when you are powerful, this becomes too high. Don't forget, power leads to corruption, and absolute power can lead to absolute corruption. It's a possibility. There's still a choice. You still have a choice to be like that. But again, it's a matter of choice, like karma and kartavya. So it's with everyone actually.
So, is it for the same for yogis as well?
Yes, it goes for everyone.
Right.
It goes for everyone and anything which is powerful. First of all, I would not use the word yogi here. Yogi is a more refined form of spiritualist. If I mention the word yoga, I have to mention the Ashtanga yoga system because they have been able to give standards of it. If you see other systems, the way Ashtanga yoga is defined between yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyan, samadhi. Yam and niyam is so much about what you should do and what you should not do.
So there must be expectations there also, right? That I
Definitely.
have to reach there. I have
Yeah.
to gain this
Yes,
thing.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Look, targeting is everywhere there. But as you become more powerful, you realize you can't achieve such great feats if you are not process based. You have to be process based to achieve what you want in life. And that process will lead you to achieve that. You can't be focused on short term goals. It's very much like winning battles and losing wars. Like a difference between the management words I'm using, mission and vision statement.
Yeah.
That's why we use the word visionary, like Dhirubhai Ambani, visionary. He had a vision that every Indian should have a cell phone. If you remember long back, cell phones were not so easily
Yeah, it was
usable.
not
They were very
available. Yeah,
expensive.
true.
He is the guy who changed it towards bringing down the cost to such a high degree. Now nearly everyone is having a cell phone. Anyone, that's real smart work. He's a visionary. So when I use the word visionary, I don't only mean in a spiritual context or a ritualistic context. Visionary is someone who has a vision, and then using the mission, you convert the vision. Like in computer science system, now this is so much IT and software industry going on. Charles Babbage in his time gave the design of computer 100 years before the first one was made. Imagine the level of visionary he was. He was 100 years ahead of his time. Similarly, our rishis and all have told about the ages, what will happen in Kalyug. They have told thousands of years ago. That's why I say it's very difficult to believe it like a mythology or a story. It's more of ancient history because they're predicting the stage-wise changes in the society. So that's why we have to give credit that it's something to be like a scientific approach. When I use the word science, it has to have an input, process, and output. So it's going like that. There's a process. So hence we have to conclude in this way that there is a huge scope of learning through the study of Mahabharata, not only from one perspective, it's a multidimensional perspective. You want to understand righteousness, you see Mahabharata. You want to understand the power of friendship, see examples of Mahabharata. There are amazing examples. Karna knows he's on the losing side, still supporting Duryodhana. The way Krishna is supporting Arjun, you see the example of friendship. You see the example of strategies. If you see as a strategist, Shaknu is just neck to Krishna. If Krishna goes as a Shanti Doot and makes sure that the war is happening even after his best attempts, Shakuni is going one step and making Bhishma as the chief commander of the Kaurava army, who also is in great love with Pandavas and whom Pandavas also revere and love a lot. It's so difficult to fight someone. Fighting enemy is one thing. Fighting someone you love the most, just think about it. It's a great mental war. So each one is doing their best in whichever role they are playing. So from friendship aspect, a strategic aspect, fighting capabilities aspect. So it's like everyone is doing their role so sincerely, I can say, and not seriously but sincerely. That it's amazing thing to learn. So forget about the debate whether it's a mythology or ancient history. Anybody reading or understanding Mahabharata, and Bhagavad Gita is just one part of it. Actually, the ancient name of Mahabharata was not Mahabharata, it was called Jai. Why it was called Mahabharata is because it's a great history of Bharat. That's
Okay,
how it
so
has come. So the question of Bharat and Mahabharata comes up because Bharat was the great ruler. All the Pandavas and Kauravas were the vanshas of Bharat. So then Bharat, it became to Mahabharata. But actually the whole creation is called Jai, and it's of 100,000 verses, of which Bhagavad Gita is only 700 verses. And this immense knowledge in Bhagavad Gita itself. There are so many
I
discourses.
think Bhagavad Gita is enough to, lead our life.
Yeah,
We
if
don't
you
need to go
if
anywhere
someone reads
else.
Bhagavad Gita, but understand these sciences, these books are so powerful that you need to be doing a self contemplation also. Same thing can be taken in different perspective. So you need to really work upon yourself where you are the judge. I'm not saying to go to, first of all, your soul in your body is your greatest judge. More than anyone else, you feel, you know what is happening with you. So instead of just going after everyone else, you have to first find in yourself the sense of righteousness. It's more like, suppose a train is on a platform and you're seeing it still, and it's like suppose 7 p.m. in the evening and the train is on the platform. I ask you a question, is the train on time or not? So any smart person would tell me that, show me the itinerary, that what is was time supposed to reach. If it was supposed to reach by 6 p.m., it is 1 hour late.
Right.
if it was supposed to reach by 8 p.m., it's one hour early. So you see, you need a referential check to understand how things are going. So same in your personal sadhana from spiritual perspective, same as your performance in sports or other things, same in the numbers. The way banks function, the way government corporates function, they are measuring everything in terms of number. It's a money game, right? So money again in number. So my point is, there is a measurement where spiritualists have to learn from so-called materialistic people, is that they are measuring things, they are quantifying things, like the quantification principles Einstein has given, that even light photons are quantified. So this is the point where science, spirituality, management, everything matches. That's why I feel every materialistic person has a spiritual aspect.
True.
Every spiritual person has a materialistic aspect.
And that balance should be
The
there.
balance should be there.
Yes.
Just because someone is spiritual, why that person can't have materialistic aspirations, I don't understand. Krishna is the most spiritual figure of that time. See his lifestyle. The remains of his place are still there. Again, Dwarka, that area, if you go and study and all, there are a lot of proof that it existed. The city like Dwarka existed. So that means it's like a balance. It's like every tree which is growing high must have deep roots. Any spiritualist who is going very good should be very practical and have very good understanding of the materialistic principles.
Thank you again for
Thank you.
coming and for sharing all your wisdom from Bhagavad Gita.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.